Hey everyone, Henrichs of Valor Ridge. What we're going to talk about in this video today is perception versus reality. Let's go ahead and get started. Later tonight, having a presidential debate between the current president, Joe Biden, and the Republican presumptive nominee, Donald Trump. Now, if you guys are interested in this, my buddy Jared from Guns and Gadgets is going to be doing a live stream later tonight. I know I will certainly be tuning in, and he'll be providing some comments, entertainment, analysis, all that stuff. So the link to that is going to be up in the little banner that just came up there on the screen. So I know I'm going to tune in. It's going to be exciting, and it certainly would be better than watching the debate on CNN. So this one here, we're going to talk about perception versus reality. Now, it's no secret that, my philosophy on government, it is not reflected by the Democrat Party at all. Like, there is not a single thing that they believe in or advocate for that I think is the United States of America and what it should be or what our founders envision it to be. On the other side of the aisle, the Republicans surely do not reflect that either. It's just not as bad. And it seems like every election cycle we get into this box of having to choose between the lesser of two evils. But nonetheless, got to be practical, pragmatic in order to do things. Now, I'm sure the topics that are important to you, if you're watching my channel, will probably be things like keeping the government out of your life. It would probably be things like, Second Amendment advocacy. It would probably be things like free speech. It would probably be things like, don't tell me how to live my life, and try to pass legislation in order to do that. It's probably about, hey, I'd really like to keep more of the money that I earn instead of sending it to the government for programs and services and people that can't really take care of themselves. So the things that are important to most of us watching this, for most of you guys watching this, and certainly the things that are important to me is going to be who is going to make the government smaller, who is going to advocate for less involvement in our life. Now, it's no secret that I'm a believer in natural rights, natural law. It is, in fact, the foundation of our country. If you don't know what natural rights are, if you don't know what natural law is, then that shows probably the biggest impediment to freedom in this country and shrinking the size of this Leviathan state over and over and over again. That is the greatest impediment, is people don't know what natural right and natural law is. When was the last time that you heard anybody in a presidential debate talk about natural law, natural rights? If you want to read the Declaration of Independence, those things are mentioned explicitly inside of that document. Now, perception versus reality. Now, a lot of times, people get bottled into the news cycle, whether that's on the internet or whether that's on mainstream media. There's the big networks like CNN, which is where the debate's on tonight, or CBS, NBC, ABC, even Fox. People get bottled into that. Certainly older folks will. People in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond oftentimes will watch those news networks, and that's where they consume a lot of their news. On the other hand, younger people tend to go more to alternative news sources, whether that's online, whether that's various websites, whether that's various podcasts, or any combination thereof. I want to give an illustration here. There was a debate many years ago, in 1960, between JFK and Richard Nixon, and this illustrated the first time that a presidential debate was televised. It was the first time that two candidates were able to express themselves on a picture audience. So it's odd, because the people that saw the debate on TV thought that JFK won. The people that listened to it on the radio thought that Richard Nixon had won. Same content, same debate, same issues, same articulation. It's just one group of people perceived it differently than the others. On the radio, they perceived Nixon's message as more convincing. The TV audience saw JFK as a more viable choice. Why? This is how they perceive things. JFK knew how to put himself in front of a TV audience. He had done this during his campaign. He had done this through the years preceding this. He knew how to appear appealing to the audience. He wore the right colored clothing. He did his makeup exceptionally well. He knew how to sit and how his body posture was important. Whereas Nixon didn't know how to do that stuff. So Nixon appeared disheveled. He appeared ill. He appeared sweating profusely. His makeup was done improperly. And his body language wasn't all that great. What's the point of bringing this event all the way back from 1960? Well, it's how we perceive things as to who the better candidate is, how we view the world. People that want to vote for somebody like Joe Biden, I would ask you why. Why would you want to vote for somebody like that? It's no secret the man is mentally ill. It's no secret that the man has mental and cognitive issues beyond anything that people can even comprehend at this point. It's no issue that he hates, and I do mean hates, half of the country. People that do believe in less government, people that believe in the Second Amendment, people that believe in their religion, people that believe in all these. It's no secret. So I would ask somebody that's voting for Joe Biden, why are you voting for him? And you know what the number one answer that I've gotten from those people is? Well, he's not Trump. So rather than voting against something, why don't you vote for something? Tell me what Joe Biden stands for. If you're a person who's been paying attention to your grocery bill, he certainly stands for a higher grocery bill, 2 to 3 times more. For those of you that believe in exercising your Second Amendment, he certainly believes in taking away or restricting severely that right. For those of you that believe in keeping control over your own body, in other words, I'm not taking an experimental injection, he wanted to mandate that nationwide. Going back to the cost thing, gasoline. He wants to tell you what kind of car that you want to drive. Guys, this isn't right-wing propaganda that's speculation. This is his own words saying this. And if he had the power, if he had the executive power to do so, he would overnight do that. There's no debate in my mind whatsoever that he would do that. Those of you voting for Donald Trump, be able to articulate why. Why are you voting for him and the things that he believes in, or are you voting against Joe Biden? I'm not casting stones here. I'm asking rhetorical questions. What does Donald Trump stand for? Well, if you're a businessman, he certainly would stand for less taxes. Okay, that's a start. I'd like to repeal the 16th Amendment entirely. I'd like to get rid of all that stuff so that we have ownership over our own capital. An example of this would be no taxes on tips, which is what he's articulated the last month or so. He does not want tips to be counted as income, nor should it be counted as income. It's gratuity. It is in excess of what the wage already is. For those of you in the Second Amendment, okay, here we go. This is where it gets a little uncomfortable for Second Amendment supporters of him. It is because of Trump's administration why the bump stock ban went into effect. Of course, it's overturned now at the Supreme Court, but nonetheless, he still brought that into existence. And with that, he brought about it being acceptable for the ATF to change rules and regulations on a whim. And so that's where the negative is. And so for those of you voting for him, I would like you to very clearly articulate your point that no further infringement on the Second Amendment can happen during his administration or even hinted at. In fact, let's start taking things away. For example, let's get rid of the NFA. For example, let's get rid of those stupid background checks. For example, let's get rid of all of those restrictions on suppressors. Let's get rid of that stuff. That was all passed with a Republican president, by the way, and not only Ronald Reagan, who got rid of all full auto stuff, but then we can also go back over time and look at those further restrictions. So we should probably demand that the Trump administration get rid of that kind of stuff, or certainly maybe defund all money to the ATF. So perception versus reality, guys. I want you to start thinking, and I know many of you do. I want you to start thinking critically. I want you to start demanding more from candidates. I want you to start demanding more from the leaders of this country, and I want you to start getting more involved. If your involvement on the internet is simply typing comments in the comments section, maybe you ought to spend that time typing your representative. Maybe you should spend that time talking on the phone to these people in Congress and start contacting the White House and making your views known. Maybe every time that there's a stupid rule or regulation passed, maybe we participate in that process and let our views be heard in that. I think that out of the ATF's open commentary, I think there was only like maybe less than 1 million comments on some of these things. And I know that there are 100 million gun owners out there. So when you watch the debate tonight, I want you to ask yourself the question, is this my perception or is this the reality? And really start understanding what freedom means and what it takes to keep that kind of freedom. And it takes a lot more than strong feels. It takes a lot more than just remaining in an echo chamber. It takes communication with people outside of your normal circle. It takes communicating with coworkers. It takes communicating with your neighbors. It takes communicating with family members in order to get that on the table and have these topics be a little bit more than just one-sided conversations about things. I for one, would enjoy if the government was shrunk to about 1% of its current size. I think we could get by with that. I really do. I really think there's that many productive people in this country that can provide for themselves. I really do think that the federal government is far beyond anything the founding fathers wanted. I really do believe that we can survive as a country if we did not have the vast majority of the federal government today. I really honestly believe that. And don't let people that like to fearmonger tell you, oh, we need this and we need this and we need this. We need more government, more government, more government, more laws, more rules, more agency. No, that's already been tried, abused, and failed over easily the last 150 years. So I would say moving forward, my voting is going to be for the people that want to shrink government, that want to abolish or severely lessen taxes, and of course, get rid of the restrictions on the Second Amendment moving forward. So folks, I know a lot of you watch my content and I appreciate you doing so. If you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please do that. It really helps us. I'd like to get to 250,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be nice. We already know what an uphill battle that can be. And once again, check out my buddy Jared and Guns and Gadgets live stream on the debate tonight. I think you'll be happy that you did. He's a guy that cares about this country. I can tell you that from firsthand experience. You won't find a more kind, a more real individual out there. So please do check his stuff out tonight when the debate is going. So folks, if you want to learn how to exercise the Second Amendment, come on out to Valor Ridge and we can help you with that. This is Reid Henrichs with Valor Ridge reminding you, the lessons that we learn are written on the tombstones of others. We'll see you on the Ridge.